In this segment, we look at the Aerobee, a family of rockets that contributed significantly to mankind's drive to understand and conquer space. America started exploring space in earnest with captured V-2 rockets after World War II. But these were complex and limited in number. The search for a simpler replacement merged work by Aerojet Engineering Corporation and the Navy's Bumblebee project and became Aerobee. At 25 feet tall and only 15 inches wide, Aerobee involved Navy funding and Army technologies. Aerobee was in a family called sounding rockets. This term harkens back to early sailing days when sailors sounded or measured the depth of rivers and shallow ports. Only now the soundings were upward through the atmosphere to space. The first live Aerobee launch took place on November 24, 1947 at White Sands Proving Ground, now called White Sands Missile Range. Its cosmic payload was designed to study the upper atmosphere. Unfortunately, a malfunction at liftoff sent the Aerobee off course. But the next one worked, and Aerobee teams soon achieved a 98% success rate. In December 1949, Holloman Air Force Base outside of Alamogordo, New Mexico, launched an Aerobee carrying solar X-ray instruments to an altitude of 59 miles. The Alamogordo News reported that smoke and flame burst out of the base of the missile. A terrible earth-shaking roar broke the awful silence, increased to an ear-splitting pitch. The missile vibrated on its foundation, then suddenly leaped skyward, cleared the 60-foot tower, and screamed into the stratosphere at a speed of 4,300 feet per second. This was the first of more than 100 Aerobee rockets that the base launched through 1959. More than 1,000 Aerobee rockets were launched between 1957 and 1985 from New Mexico, Virginia, Canada, Australia, and even ships at sea. Payloads measured where atmosphere and space meet, helped discover the Van Allen radiation belts, and photographed the sun, planets, and stars. The family grew to more than 30 variants, including one that could send 500 pounds 210 miles up. Aerobee set altitude records, eventually reaching 260 miles, as high as space station orbits today. Because of this, Aerobees are considered the first spacecraft. 3 Aerobees carried monkeys and mice as we sought answers to how humans could live and work in space. It wasn't easy. The first 2 flights in 1951 were lost in recovery mishaps. But in May 1952, capuchin monkeys Pat and Mike, along with 2 mice, safely flew to space and back. Aerobee has a long heritage. Its launch tower is still used for modern sounding rockets. Its sustainer stage was used to top Vanguard, Thor, and Atlas launchers. And the engine evolved into the service module engine for the Apollo spacecraft and the main maneuvering engine of the Space Shuttle. The New Mexico Museum of Space History has 3 Aerobees on display. A complete Aerobee High with solid booster stage stands upright in the John Stapp Air and Space Park. You walk under another Aerobee as you enter the museum, and one more on the 3rd floor.